In this video, I will teach you the most important rhythm guitar technique that helped me skyrocket my rhythm playing. That technique coming right up. This rhythm technique helped me play better driving rhythm, clean riffs with the same right hand motion, and bluesy rhythm with fills. I'm not going to lie, this rhythm technique is challenging, but with this slow-paced breakdown, I will help you start playing better rhythm today. What really helped me learn this rhythm technique was 3 simple steps. First, it's all about muting. To start doing this, we will just mute all the strings right here, just so you can't hear any strings ring. I'm laying them over all 6 strings. And then we have a beat, and this is going to be in the 95 BPM range. Just that straight down, so you make sure they're all muted. Then taking and creating a groove with an up and down motion, but not with your arm so much, your wrist. Watch my wrist. Now there is rhythms with when you really are raking with your arm. That's a different style than we're learning today. This style is going to help you with a lot of blues rock riffs and creating your own. So this up and down here with a very loose wrist is so useful in so many types of music, from country, blues, rock. Really use this style. So we have this up and down motion. Then we take the notes that we want heard, push down on the fretboard. So I'm laying my fingers over these 4 frets here, starting in the 9th fret, but I'm going to push down on the D, G, and B strings with my first finger here. And keep in mind, I'm still muting. This first finger kind of lays over this E string here, so you can't hear it. And then muting the A string with the tip of my first finger. With this up and down motion, and push down only when you want the strings to be heard. Let's slow this down. Now listen to the music, I'm just hammering onto some notes, and I'll break down these riffs coming up, but we're really looking at the technique right now. Slower. You just have that up and down motion that does not stop, mostly in your loose wrist here though. And again, we're only pushing down on the strings when we want them to be heard. We get them in position. In this case, I'm kind of got my fingers in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th fret here, just kind of laying on the fretboard. But when I'm ready to have something ring, I just push down on those notes. The biggest challenge for me is getting just those notes to ring and not unwanted notes. That's a challenge, but you can do this. Your first finger is so useful in this position, especially. It's again, I'm just muting slightly on the A string with the tip of my first finger there, and I'm just lifting up slightly, so it's muted this E string, the high E string. Now, when I do this hammer on, my tip of my finger is muting this E string. You can let that ring a little bit because it is an E chord, but I'm just It's so important to have your strings under control. And now here are the 3 steps slowed down again. Really pay attention here. Get in the area that you're going to start your first riff. And this time I'm just going to put my 3rd finger on the 9th fret, D, G, and B strings. So you get the beat of the tune, and this is in the, I think it's 95 BPM range. But I'm laying my fingers, muting them all, but on where the riff is going to be. And then I will push down when I want the notes to be heard. So up and down. So you just have your fingers in position, pushing down the notes, just slightly muting some of the unwanted notes. But this up and down motion needs to continue. Sometimes I exaggerate it more than others. I'm doing it more right now because I'm just trying to really teach you. Even when I will stop the pulse, I still have it in my soul. You have to keep the timing. I might not hit the strings always, but I have that groove in mind. This is going to be such a useful way and confident way for you to play the guitar in the future here. Another way I got better at this is using a metronome. I know a lot of you hate to hear that, but guitar playing is about rhythm and timing. And you're locked in to a beat right here, and you can practice. So this is a great way to practice this rhythm technique. I have it at 70 beats per minute right now, but you mute the strings where you want to be. Have just one stroke there. Now the up and down. You should be able to close your eyes and just feel this. You don't necessarily have to be looking at the strings because you're not playing anything right now, and you're in position to hit some notes when you push down. Close your eyes and feel this. This is such a great practice exercise because you're locked into timing. You're muting the strings, an important skill in itself, and you're just really slamming down on these strings that you want heard. And these riffs just start to come alive when you have that percussive kind of sound. So many tunes and riffs were written with this percussive rhythm in mind. And again, the biggest challenge for me was muting these unwanted strings. And I'll show you in these riffs, I'm going to break down how this really comes into play. I'm going to show you what strings I'm muting with my left hand and how I'm choking some of this out with my right hand. It's a combination of both, but let's break down these riffs. So Lonely as the Night is just 3 chords basically. I'm not playing this exact. This is for teaching purposes, getting this rhythm down, but using the triad shapes from here. Using the triad shapes from here, the 9th fret of the D, G, and B strings. 7th fret. And then the 2nd fret, and then this shape here. So with that pulse in mind, like we learned earlier, so you get that up and down motion and get in position here, the 9th, 7th fret. 2nd fret. 4 on the D, 2 on the G string, and then 3 on the B string is a D triad inversion. You need to know those shapes, and once you know them, then you can apply this rhythm to it. And then the lead fills come so natural when you have this up and down motion. So I'm looking at this E triad here on the 9th fret of the D, G, and B strings. I'm sliding up to another little double stop from a triad. So it'd be 13 on the G, 12 on the B string. And then slide 2 frets down, 11 and 10, and back to the triad. Those are the notes, but we're going to mute So I'm laying my first finger on this A string and G string because I don't want those to ring with this. I'm just slightly laying them on the string, not pushing down. This takes a little work, but so worth it. So that way I don't have to be precise. Like trying to pick those 2 strings is you're not going to keep in the pocket that way. And then you pull off back to this. But the key to this riff and some of the 2 of the other ones coming up are muting with that first finger. And I'm kind of targeting the center of the guitar here, but just really digging into the G and B strings, but making sure I don't have the A or D strings ringing with it. So the exact same kind of groove we have with this Listen to the Music. Hammering on here, use this triad as a basis, this E right here, 9th fret of the D, G, and B strings again. But the start of the riff is a hammer on to the G sharp from 9 to 11 on the A string. So to start with, I'm laying my first finger on the A, D, and G strings and to hammer on. It gives it some movement there. Still really looking at this triad. You can lay your finger all the way and cover all 4 strings, but I kind of lift up a taste and get my first finger up here and kind of arch it a little bit. So you're just hammering on that one note there. And I'm targeting, as I'm doing that, I'm targeting the A, D, and G strings with my attack, but I'm still just touching the tip of my first finger is deadening this E note here. And then I'm arching up here so I don't hear the B for the first part of the riff for the B or the E string right there. So I can really be aggressive with my stroke here. It takes practice, but work on this. So then I'm kind of switching to a hammer-on, pull-off. So you're looking at, again, now I'm going back to the D, G, and B strings on this little triad shape, hammering on, this is the 9th fret there, but hammering on to 11, 9, 10 on the B string. It's an A triad inversion. Back to back to E, sorry. A, E. So slowly, so in the same way, I'm I'm playing all the strings through this entire thing because it gives it that percussive sound, but I'm only pushing down on the notes and muting the or that you want heard, and then muting the ones that you don't want heard. And again, it's I use the tip of my finger here. I got to wrap my thumb so this E string isn't ringing too, but I have this first finger arched. I don't have it laying flat because you'll have strings ring that way. You don't want the high strings ringing right there. So for this bluesy kind of riff I was doing, it's still the same up and down motion, but it's easy to create movement to a simple chord. This is just an E9 chord. So 7th fret on the A string, 6th fret on the D string, and then on the G, B, and E strings, you're laying your 3rd finger there, barring them. E9. But the first part of the lick, I'm just playing these 3 notes. 7, 6, 7. And then moving, like sliding up. So you're sliding, and then you're stroking the chord below it, and then sliding up. And then you're just laying that 3rd finger on the G, B, and E strings. You can really get percussive and just have fun with it this way because you have this pulse. Your fingers are in position to hammer down on the ones you want heard. And then you can throw in some simple licks, fills, because you have this percussive thing going on. You have this simple phrase here. I just hit 9th fret of the E string, slight bend on 8 of the B string, then hitting the root note E, 9th fret of the G string. 7, 9. Then back to that little chord. Do it slow. I had so much fun making this lesson. I felt like you guys were sitting right here with me. This rhythm guitar technique helped me with every part of my playing. Better muting, rhythm and timing, and it helps you create lead fills in between the chords when you have a rhythm going on with your right hand. Let me know if this rhythm lesson was helpful. Hope to see you soon.